concerts, and I watched them grow. I didn't expect for them to grow in the way that they did, but it did happen because I was in gratitude about it. So what we think about, we bank about. And our words are very powerful. And this isn't any secret. We talk about that a lot here on Evolve. But I am really not sure that we humans are aware of how we can really thank things into existence. I think that we take for granted, or we hear that, and we're like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool thing that, Maya Angelou said, or maybe Oprah or somebody else. Our words are powerful. But we're not realizing that we really are speaking things into existence. I've listened to great actors and people that I admire that talked about writing checks to themselves and speaking over themselves they were going to be famous. I watched a beautiful documentary with Stevie Nicks recently where she was talking about how she used to write letters to her friends back home that she's a famous rock star and she's sunbathing by the pool and she's smoking whatever cigarette she liked to smoke at the time, and that everybody's clamoring for her music. And at the time she was writing that, she was living in an apartment with the guy she was dating, one of the members of the band at the time, and she was dirt poor and had nothing, and she was 17 years old. And then she found that letter when she was 26, and everything she'd written down and she was grateful for had come true. Jim Carrey tells a similar story of writing $1 million check, or maybe more than that, to himself while looking at the Hollywood sign. He was sitting on it and looking out over Hollywood, and he talks about how he was able to cash a check within a couple years of writing that fake check to himself and carrying it around in his pocket and exercising gratitude for the thing that seemed impossible that hadn't happened. So that's what I mean by our gratitude can cause exponential growth, and our words can thank things into existence. So several times on Evolve, I've shared with you a practice about handwriting, and that I practice this handwriting program by a woman named Vilma Rogers. And in her program, it's called Transform Your Life Through Handwriting. She espouses that by rewiring your brain to kinetically attach to new ideas and thoughts while you're writing letters, you will watch miracles occur. And she calls it a miracle journal because she says if you continue your daily writing practice, that what are commonly called miracles will start to occur. Suddenly, you may feel compassion for someone you have judged harshly in the past, or you may find it pleasurable to listen to what others have to say rather than interrupting. You may no longer feel compelled to change or fix people. I love that part especially. And unexpected opportunities may drop into your lap one after another. And some people call these miracles the law of attraction, and others say it's a principle of cause and effect. But I really like this, and this breaks this down, and I've wanted to convey this to you guys. In alphabetical technology, they are considered the result of fundamental laws of physics, electricity, and magnetism. When you generate energy each day with your pen, words, and intentions, you magnetize results. And you can label them whatever you want to, but they will occur, and you will find yourself exclaiming, how the heck did that happen? But it's because you're magnetizing the results with actual physical energy. You're writing every day. It's just a letter, and she goes through different letters. And so as I was preparing for this show, I pulled a letter. This was a few days ago. I was thinking about how do I put all of these thoughts that have been popping through my head in these dreams into a show. And so I picked a letter. And the letter that I picked was the letter W. And when you pull a card, all of the letters contain a declaration for an intent with the letter. And I pulled W, which is a letter of the teacher. And you may say, well, that makes sense, Monette. You've taught children and clients, and so that would be fair. Yeah, the letter of the teacher, you attracted that to you. But these declarations challenge you to move in a different direction. The declaration for W is, I live what I teach unerringly. And the element associated with this card is the earth, and it's about being grounded in roots. And the person, because each card has an element and a person associated with it, or an idea associated with it. So the person that she gives as an example for the letter, I live what I teach unerringly, is Jesus. And she gives this to him, I believe, because she esteems him to be great as a representation of being an example of his words and deeds and following through with them, meaning that he has lived what he taught. So I pull this card, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot to live up to today, lady. No one's perfect, so I'm going to put the card back in the deck. I don't know that I'm ready for this card as I'm starting my daily writing practice. And I hear my angel say, Monette, wait a minute. And they remind me about my daily practice, which is everything that I do. What I talk to you guys about, I live. I talk to my friends about, I talk to my clients about. I truly try to live it. Doesn't mean I get it right every day, but I truly live it. And my angel said, you do try to live your daily practice. You do try to live it. I don't say that it's unerringly, but I do try to live it. So it really reminded me that one of my daily practices is writing into my gratitude jar, writing notes daily, and thanking God for my friends that I love and things that I don't even have yet. I do this all the time. Before I started on Evolve, I was writing about how I had a radio show. I didn't know how I was going to have a radio show. I didn't know the radio station manager. I didn't know this existed. But I was writing about it for a couple months before what I thanked about got brought into my actual existence. I was grateful for a thing I didn't see, and that's what faith is, but that's more importantly what the power of gratitude is. So my angel said, hey, Monette, you do this daily practice, so don't put that card back in the deck just yet, because no, you're not Jesus, obviously, but you are a teacher who does try to live by what she teaches. So I pull this card, and I say, okay, I'm obviously going to have to really get into this. And what kept coming up to my heart was gratitude, and how gratitude multiplies things, and how I do all of those things, the writing, the thinking, the preaching, the teaching, because I know that my gratitude is the variable that has the power to shift my life into another dimension, as it has so many times. So let's talk about 3 easy-to-remember keys that will help you to tap into the exponential power of gratitude in your life. And they are simply extend, emote, and exercise. So when we're talking about emote, we mean that it's not enough to think about gratitude. You have to feel the emotion about gratitude. That is really important. You have to really feel grateful. You can't just say, I'm super grateful, write it down in a jar and not think about it. You have to think about gratitude, and you have to feel it. You have to feel it. I love that word, feel. So you've got to feel the emotion. Extend, as in extend your gratitude beyond yourself to include other people. Be grateful for other people. Now, I'm going to give this example. I have a friendship that I treasure, and I think often about it to my friend, and I think often about it in my notes. I do this because I wish to keep the relationship healthy and thriving. And my friend, who is amazing, does the same. What this looks like is random texts throughout the day where we say, girl, thank you for being a friend. We're totally into the Golden Girls. So we'll say thank you for being a friend, or hashtag golden, or this is why I appreciate you, because sometimes in life we're offered contrasts with people around us that aren't so amazing and aren't ideal, and she and I have invested a lot into each other, and so we withdraw or we deposit. That's important with gratitude, is those deposits you make. And so I'll just text her, this is why you're awesome today, or she'll text me that. What that also looks like is maybe a nice care package that's unexpected that we do for each other. I will always tell her she gives me the best gifts ever. And so, and it's so thoughtful. She gives gifts the way I give gifts, and it just makes me feel appreciated and loved, that someone in the world values me. And we tell each other about that all the time. Now, if you heard any of our phone conversations, you'd probably throw up. They're not all just you're wonderful, pouring gas on it and just telling you you're the best and sunshine in the air. But they're real conversations, in depth and wonderful, and I couldn't ask for a more equally yoked spiritual friend to walk through the world with. But I will say this, that there are times when we have to check each other, because that's what friendship is about too. And it doesn't mean that our friendship is perfect in the checking, because it means we're blessed to address the issues or the hiccups with each other because we have love in our hearts, which means that we search our hearts and we can see the error in our ways and we are able to move on. And that is because we are withdrawing, like I said, and depositing from the bank with thanks constantly. We constantly invest, and what happens is our relationship and friendship has grown exponentially via our thanks, via our gratitude. That is the power of emoting in gratitude. Now, the last key was exercise. Do your daily gratitude exercise. When you practice gratitude correctly, you tap into neuroplasticity or brain plasticity, which is the discovery that we can restructure our physical brains by using our minds to create better brain cell connections. So when you're using these three keys, you unlock your neuroplasticity. That is really important. And the reason that I also enjoy this writing program, guys, just to jump back here for a minute, is because when she talks about actually generating energy with your pen and your intentions, physical energy, kinetic energy is generated. That's also tying into neuroplasticity. And when I told my dear friend that I just told you about, and like I said, she is not without her snark, I said, I'm doing this. I was visiting her. It was several years ago. And in the morning, I get up and I write most mornings, every morning. I do a lot of reading and listening and writing. I love words, if you can't tell. And so I listen to other people's radio shows, podcasts, information, TED Talks constantly. And so she was like, what are you doing up so early? And I'm just sitting there, and I'm writing. And she comes over, she looks, and I'm just writing the same letter over and over. I think at that time I was working on the letter T, which is the letter of the visionary. So I was working on T's, and I'm just writing a string of T's, and then you write sentences that have T's in them that you speak over yourself. So it'd be like, today's going to be a terrific day, something like that. So she's watching me do this, and she's like, what? I can't believe you're just writing pages of T's. Well, I wanted to change my idea of myself. I know that I'm a creative, but I thought, how bold to think of yourself as a visionary. I've been very uncomfortable with that. And so I had to work on developing my neuroplasticity so that I believed what I was saying and I believed in my ideas. So I remember her coming over and saying, so you're just writing letters over and over, this is going to do something? And then I explained it to her and she understood and we laughed about it. We still laugh about it to this day. But that did change the way that I viewed myself. Not the letter T had any magic, but me saying it to myself as I wrote it, I am a visionary. I have great ideas. It's okay to express my ideas. All of that stuff. And I'm going to we're going to hopscotch a little because I want to get back into why I even needed to do that, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But it's really important that you understand that neuroplasticity is available to you. We all have brains, and I think sometimes we get really fixed and stuck in where we are, and gratitude is fantastic for transforming where you are. And so I want you to be very, very aware of that. That exercise you do daily, that gratitude exercise, it really helps you to grow. And it really helps to change. It helps to change the way that you are, and it helps to put you into a different position. So what I want to get back into is the bank and emoting and gratitude. So when you're doing your daily exercise and when you practice gratitude correctly and you're tapping into that neuroplasticity, and you're restructuring your brains, you are actually making yourself open to a lot of opportunities and making things attract and magnetize to you much faster. So when you use these three keys to unlock your neuroplasticity, it's important to understand when you're emoting, you're firing up your hippocampus and the brain center of learning and memory. When you extend your gratitude to include other people, you spark the most highly evolved areas of the human brain, which is devoted to social intelligence. That's why when you're emoting thanks about a person or what they're offering to your life, It is so important to tell them, write about it, but let them know I appreciate you. In my relationship with my